Is more on the contractual basis between humans and spirits, and I'm just going to give my opinion here on this and how I see it. Is that for me, the spiritual world is really very well regimented, and it's got very specific and clear rules, and everything in the spiritual world is pretty consistent in how they act, react, and how they operate. So mostly you find that when there's interaction between the spiritual world and the physical world, that the person in the physical world may not understand everything properly and have gotten themselves into a situation that they don't really have any clarity on, and they can maybe just not understand what they're going through. But in the spiritual world, I generally find that's very consistent, and whatever happens on that end is normally the better end of the two of the two parties. So I'm not saying that the human's always at fault. I think that that they sometimes they just misunderstand what the situation and dynamics are, and that they can coordinate themselves in a better way, and they can get a better cooperation between them and someone else. I know of someone that had problems with spiritual entities, mastered the communication and connection with spirits more, and then found that it was really helpful to be connected to spirits, and those spirits have a really profound purpose with her in her life. It shows on her hand as well, and then she's got a specific task and purpose to fulfill for herself in this world, and the spirits are just aiding her. So don't always think that because we have this connection to spirit that it's something that is negative. It's just that a lot of times we don't really understand what's behind it. So let's see if there's some benefit that the sitter has because of the spiritual entity. We could have something like money, fame, women. This can be a lot of different things. So these are ones that I kind of find generally very typical. Is that people do have I find that there's a lot of people that have a connection to a spiritual entity. They do really well with money and business. They are really well known and liked, and then they have the option of a lot of women in their lives. So yes, it looks like they live a really successful life. They've got a contract with the spirit, and we're going to go into that a little bit more. There could be that there's a contract between the sitter and the spirit, and the contract just means that, okay, well, you've requested the help of the spirit, and you're getting these things from the cooperation between you and the spiritual entity, and then this is something that you need to then honor. So they give you something, and in turn you have a contract with them, and then obviously that obligates you in some way. That some of the things that could be possible if you have a spirit guide and the guide offers you help, in say endeavors of healing and getting the best out of the world for someone else and people around you. There could be that there's a lot of appreciation and love for from that side to you, and then obviously if there's a lot of appreciation from your side or love from you for the spirit, I've got something like that, which is for me really beneficial, but really helps me in this time and things that I'm going through, and understand what it's about, and there's like a push pull. Yeah, so there's an arrangement. There's something that you gain. There's something that you do, and this is always up. I say that any relationship between two people in the physical world is the same way. It is a transactional type of thing where you don't just always give something to someone. You always you have something that they give to you, and you give something to them. So there's always this exchange. There's some benefit from them being in your life, and there's some benefit from you being in their life. So when we get lopsided relationships, they generally fall apart in the end, where there's say one person giving and one person taking. I've dealt more with this in the relationship section, so you can go back to that if you need to. With the spirit world, well, the other part of it is if you've got something negative, sometimes a lot of these people that do get a lot of money and fame and women and so on, how they pay for that is by suffering and grief. They pay through emotional pain and difficulties. So you can say, well, is the arrangement positive? Okay, well, if somebody gets a lot for, if they get like a really big benefit for what they do, and they have to go through a little bit of pain and suffering because of it, maybe some emotional difficulties, well, a lot of the times it's really hard to give up those profound things that you get in order to be free of the suffering and the grief and the emotional pain. So a lot of people stay in those arrangements till the end of life, and at the end of life, well, then they kind of go with the entity that they've had an arrangement with, and then yeah, if they don't make up the arrangement anymore. So basically, if you want to break this contractual arrangement, you have to stop taking the benefits, and you have to get them for yourself. And of course, then you stop paying in whatever terms you need to. So fulfill your contracts, pay everything up, and it's like basically settling your debts. And once all your debts are settled, you'll be free. For this reason, I don't feel like it normally works when you banish a spirit. I've chased spirits away, and it doesn't mean they go to nothing. On the one account, I think it's basically alleviated some situation, but it's not basically removed it from them. So there's a lot of intricacies with this, and I don't think from our perspective in the physical world we understand everything 100%. But I think do what you're called to do, and act on your guidance, and also on your intuition, and do what's best for everyone. And I think that the best we can do with a person that's got a contract with the spirit is to say, well, you are getting these benefits and you're paying in this. So this is up to you to decide what you want to do next. If you want to be rid of this, you need to stop taking the benefits. You need to pay up. You need to settle your account, and then move forward on your own. And it might not go as well as it's going right now. So there's a choice for you. And let the people make their own decisions. Don't meddle in the relationships and contracts between other people, unless you are assigned to do that. If you're not assigned by both parties, or have to settle the difference between both parties, stay out of it. Let everybody deal with their contracts in their way, and settle their debts in the way that they need to settle them. If you go and take up responsibility for somebody else and you have to settle their debts, well, that I think is a very foolish thing to do. So if you want to do that, absolutely great, do it. Some people do these things where they take on the illness of other people, take the responsibilities of others and remove it from them. Generally, it doesn't always turn out well for the individual. So I would really caution you against action like that.